this, and then we're going to go into it. Because the camera's running. It's running right now.
You're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. Welcome to
the impromptu. You can't beat impromptu.
That's right. Welcome to Rick's Corner. I have with me today a man who's a legend. He was the first man to be on Muscle Power magazine, Joe Weider's magazine. The first man ever with a 20 of what?
First black man. That's the point.
You're black?
Really? I don't know.
I didn't know that.
You just found out, all right.
People think I am. I don't know what it is. I got that brother in me. First man ever, black man ever, to be on the cover of Muscle Power magazine with a 21¼ inch arm, drug-free.
But hold it now. Let's get this straight.
Wait a minute. Let me tell me your name.
Leroy Colbert.
Leroy Colbert.
But let's get it straight. It wasn't 21¼ when I was on the cover.
What was it?
Oh, no. It was about maybe 18 then. That wasn't 21-inch arm then.
Well, you said
on that cover. No. Let me tell you something. I got bigger after the accident than before.
Well, because you're
my arm didn't get to 21¼ inches after I got hurt.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, well, see, it's a lot to learn.
That's what I'm asking. Well, you had a motorcycle accident.
Ankle was severed.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, people look at that and that's not a 21¼ inch arm. I was only 19, maybe 20 years old then.
Okay.
I was evolving, Rick.
I understand.
Now, we gotta get this right. I gotta get it because you know some of these guys are really out there checking everything and he's lying.
They'll check statistics.
One thing about I tell you right off, and I'll tell you, I'm not knocking steroids, but I really think it killed the game. It killed the connection. People don't relate. That only the diehards relate now.
Yeah.
People that Men's Health sell more than all the other muscle magazines put together. But you can't relate to these guys with muscles in their ass. You can't. I mean really.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can't because it's unachievable unless you're on the drug.
And you know.
But I want. Okay, well, go ahead because I have a question for you.
Well, you know what I would say when we were growing up, it was so different. I hate to say because people get annoyed, especially young people. I don't know when you were growing up, but the bodies were so distinct that you could put your hand over the face and identify the guys by their bodies.
Absolutely.
You can't do that today.
Absolutely. You know from the neck down who's who.
Yeah.
All the way down the line.
Right.
Today they all look alike.
Right.
How did you manage to get a 21-inch arm without doing drugs? What was your training like and what was your diet like at that time?
Well, I'll tell you something. When we were growing up, we grew up on the steam shovel method of nutrition. And that is eat everything that wasn't nailed down.
Yeah. Because
we didn't understand, but we understood one thing. We felt stronger eating more protein, and they didn't focus on the science of nutrition. Diet was just you pick your own diet. Your science of nutrition was just really ancient.
Yeah, it was ancient,
time,
of course.
So what happened is, how's the start? I'll never forget it because we used to do 3. It was a rule, and where these rules come from fascinates you.
You make your own rules.
Yeah, but they said, don't do over 3 sets or you overtrain. That was the thing.
Yeah.
Everybody was more concerned with overtraining than anything else. After 3 sets, big guys will drop the weights and go on fire.
3 sets, 10 reps.
Yeah.
3 times a week.
They drop it like they're on fire.
Yeah.
And so I would do the same, and then I just didn't feel comfortable. I said, I want to do more. Then I started doing, I was the first guy in the gym in the East Coast, because we would have, everything moved to the West, but in the East at that time, because bodybuilding was just really primitive.
Yeah.
I got pictures of me when I was 15 in the gym. There was no adjustable dumbbells, barbells. Everything was solid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they didn't. They were all welded together.
Yeah, and there was no machines, nothing. But it makes me, I look back and it's fascinating to me. And I'm glad I was able to live through it all and see the involvement and enjoy the growing up and how bodybuilding has evolved. I never dreamed that we would reach this point. I remember when I was so proud to work for Joe, and I never thought Joe would be more little ma and pa.
Yeah.
You know. But in any case, what started, I started doing 6 sets, 8 sets, 10 sets, and I was growing like I was being put in here.
Yeah.
I said, what the hell? Then first of all the guys in the gym were saying, hey, they were laughing at me until they see me growing in front of them. So everybody went crazy. 15, 20 sets was light stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we just blew up. But one thing we found, and everything was experimental. It's funny. When we ate the steak, we felt so much stronger. We didn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a restaurant around the gym called French Romanian restaurant. He did a tri-tip steak or very cheap steak.
Yeah.
And they would have that with potatoes and onions.
Yeah.
And that was $1.95, something like that. We used to get 2 pounds every night. It was like you had to get the steak. It was more important than breathing.
Yeah, well, beef, the beef makes you grow.
Yeah, we both.
And you didn't care about carbohydrates with the potatoes.
We didn't understand it.
No, it wasn't even anything.
You know what we'd have for lunch sometimes? An apple pie and a pint of ice cream.
And he grew on it. Can you imagine that?
You know why? Well, no, that would be all the food we ate. But we knew that protein was good. We didn't even. I don't think we even remember use the word protein, to be honest with you.
Well, because there were no protein supplements to speak of back then.
No, it was none when we were doing.
What was it? Bob Hoffman had like one of the first ones out?
Yeah, he was the first ones out.
And you know, on his can, he didn't spell it protein, Protein. He spelled it Proteen.
Right.
And I thought, well, it's not real protein. There's something else in there.
It would have been ancient. We would have, if Joe didn't come into this game.
Yeah.
I don't know where we would have gone. Joe glamorized this game. He made it. He made it what it is today.
Weeder was a very smart man. He knew exactly what to do.
You know what it is, Ray? He loved the sport. Hoffman didn't. Hoffman didn't like bodybuilding.
He didn't like Weeder either.
No, he didn't like bodybuilding. Hoffman liked weightlifting, and he used to really have no respect. The only guy he had any respect for was Grimmick.
Yeah, well, Joe talked about that, about bodybuilding, and Hoffa didn't want any part of it in the scene. Then he brought bodybuilding in and started to draw a bigger audience, and people want to come out and see the guys pose. But what year did you start training?
I started when I was 11. And I'm a geezer now.
I don't think 100's old.
It's getting there. 67 years ago.
Yeah.
That's when I started.
All right, so you were back in the 50s, 40s.
Oh, yeah.
40s.
Yeah.
And then the 50s were an element at Muscle Beach that were the days of Steve Reeves and a lot of those guys.
And the 50s, was it? Or later?
It was the late 50s.
Let me see. Steve was... Yeah, about the same time. Yeah. He was about
and then the 60s were a different era. Those are the days of like Joe and Zabo and Eddie and those guys that were they started the Gold's Gym in 65.
Was it 60 years?
65.
Well, I was out of I got hurt in the late 50s. I was finished.
So for how long?
What do you mean?
You were finished for how long?
Period.
No, but you came back.
Oh, I trained in my upper body.
Yeah.
My legs, see, nothing like youth. When I got hurt, I was 20 years old, I think. So. And the best of, really, at the time I got hurt, I thought it was the end of my life. I really did. I said, bodybuilding was life. I mean, I was consumed. And I said, what am I going to do? You know, I can't.
It's your whole life, of course.
But I never knew the problem that happened. So the doctors, when they at that time didn't know much about bodybuilding, they just see a guy like me, and they said, "What this guy's some hell of an athlete."
Yeah.
So they wanted to say that they said if I didn't have all those muscles, they would have shortened the ankle and pull it up. It took about an inch or two, so I would have been a gimp today.
Oh my God, yeah.
He said, but they tried to save the ankle, but by trying to save it, they didn't irrigate it properly, and then it got massive infection.
Yeah.
Then they had to go back in and freeze the ankle with pins so it doesn't move. So I had a fixed ankle, so they said the days of you. Then they wanted to give me, they wanted to give me the hip, the sport where your weight is support on your hip. They call it, it goes down to your ankle and it fits up under your hip. So really the weight is not on the body.
Right.
It's on. And I said, I'm not going to wear that.
No, I wouldn't either.
You know? And so the guy, he said, well, you'll never build, the bone will never come back to support you. Of course, that, that's where they were. It did. But from there, I said, from there I knew it was finished as far as competing. And Joe was furious at me. Joe used to call me the monster. When he had guys come to his office, he said, get Leroy, get the monster.
But you had already made a name for yourself. People already knew you.
Oh, yeah.
So it didn't matter if you competed anymore. You could still do upper body shots and be in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I got that. My arm started to grow because I've concentrated more on it.
Right.
on my upper body, not to compete, just because I was into bodybuilding.
I had this happen. I tore my quads in 2001, so I was in a wheelchair for a while and walker for a while. I just did my upper body. I went in every day and did something on upper body, and my upper body grew a lot. And that's almost what you can do for a sticking point. If you get stuck on a certain part that doesn't grow, take everything off and just do that thing for a few weeks, and it'll grow.
Well, I call that muscle priority.
A muscle priority, yeah.
Yeah, the body will favor what you favor.
Yeah.
You know, and it will. And in other words, if you really focus on one muscle part, you'll find that you raise your arm. Like, say you work your back all the time.
Yeah.
You raise your arm, and you feel it in your back, because it's amazing phenomenon I found with the body, and I think that happened with my arms.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to build big arms.
Yeah.
You know.
And you focused on it.
And I focused on it. And when David Willoughby measured my arm with a steel tape, Joe was there. David Willoughby was worked for Joe, Earl Lederman, those old, you know, icons of the bodybuilding game, the so-called, I don't know if you ever heard of Earl Lederman.
Of course.
Oh,
yeah, sure.
And David Willoughby. So
yeah.
So Joe said, "How big is the monster's arm?" Joe, he sounded up, but he said, "Hey, monster."
Well, you know, you look at these guys in prison, they don't work legs, half of them, they work upper body, and they're huge, because that's their priority. They're working on that one thing like that. Right. Well, the 70s came, and Arnold came.
Right.
And you and Arnold are good friends.
Right.
And he changed bodybuilding, too, quite a bit.
I think Arnold made bodybuilding. Arnold's an icon. You know, only once in a lifetime you'll ever see Arnold, maybe in two lifetimes.
Right.
The thing I like about Arnold is Arnold has so much self-confidence.
Totally.
Oh, we used to have a lot of arguments. I mean, if you look at it, arguments simply because he wants to take over. I'll never forget when he first came to my house. When he was just didn't win anything.
No.
I've never won anything. I even got audio where we were Artie Zeller, God bless him, I loved him, because he grew up with me on the East Side.
Artie Zeller was the photographer that did all the photo shoots with Arnold and all the bodybuilders, one of the top guys.
Yeah, he was then. And then Arnold wanted to meet me then, you know, and so he come to the house, and hey, Leroy, he's king, you know, and I'm looking at this guy, and I'm